Hello, everybody. It's that time again for all of you aspiring writers out there to join me and Joanie Lindenmeyer to learn everything you need to know to write, publish, and promote that book so you have a bestseller. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins of Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, and with us is our superstar author, Joanie Lindenmeyer, author of Nun Better, an amazing love story. And we're here every Friday to help you learn how to write, publish, and promote your book. So, Joanie, welcome.
Welcome to you too. Happy Friday. Happy November to everybody. It's so good to be with you and to everybody else. Thank you again for doing these, Elizabeth.
You're so welcome. It's my honor. And it's so fun because this is what I love to do as a writer, author, publisher, editor. It's just fun. And you are an example of putting all the things I teach into practice to create a best-selling book, Nun Better, which is so phenomenal. It's beautiful, and it's such a beautiful story. So well done by you, Joanie. So let's talk about our topic of, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's talk about your topic of the day.
You bet. And it is my prop, a board.
Oh,
board.
A cutting board.
Because
looks like we're going to cut some cheese.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds good too. But a board, how you keep track of everything you need to do and where that goes. For me, it was the board. For other people, it might be a document or a notebook or their phone. But how do you keep track of everything when there's a lot to do? That's the topic.
Right. I love it. I love it. So you did that. When I was coaching you to write your book, which you'd never written a book before, you came up with this process that helped you. And it was keeping notes on a board, which can be any type of board. So Joanie, can you talk to us about what you did to keep notes on a board so it's front and center in your face? I need that method too, so I don't forget anything. So can you share?
Absolutely. I'm such a visual person, so I definitely needed a board. After literally, I'm not kidding, Elizabeth. There were times where I couldn't find a piece of paper, but I would find a piece of wood outside, and I would literally scratch something in it to go, oh, I need to remember that. I need to remember that. And I grab that little piece of wood. Can you believe that? Grab that little piece of wood, come into my office, and thank goodness for my neighbors who helped put up my whiteboard, the old fashioned, that's what I call it, the old fashioned with the markers, and I could go ahead and draw or write on that board in different colors. I've got the blue, the black, the green, the purple, the green, all the different colors of the pens on the board. And I would circle things, and I would have hearts, and I would have smile faces, and I'd have my to-do lists of what I want to do, as well as my brainstorming creative juices. So if something came to me, Elizabeth, as I'm working in the house or I'm making turkey soup or whatever I'm doing, and something would come to me, I'd just zip into that office, use that whiteboard and write it down so I wouldn't forget it. That's how it worked for me. And it was visual. I love the visual part. I love the part that, and maybe it goes back to my old Catholic school teaching, when you write it down, it stays in the brain and the heart. It's not just out there in some universe, but it means something.
I love
Do you
that.
do that too?
Yes, there is something metaphysical about when you write something physically as opposed to typing it, whether you're journaling or taking notes or creating a to-do list. So I work off lists every day. I need them. I love to organize my brain that way, but I also love to cross things off when I'm finished. And so I use notebooks, but I also have my whiteboard, which you can buy a whiteboard online and you get the pens. You can go to your office supply store and buy them all sizes. And the cool thing is, like Joanie said, they're erasable. So you can erase what you've already done and write new things, and color coding everything makes it really visual and exciting to figure out, what's next. Like you can make priorities in red or, done things in green or whatever. Right, Joanie?
Exactly. And even this morning, as you and I were coming up with our topic and how important it is to have that board, I went into my office and took a picture of my board, and it's just packed with all kinds of stuff on it. And I go, wait a minute, where's my eraser? So just about 10 minutes ago, I was like, oh, erase that one, erase that one, erase that one. And it feels so good to have a full board. And
Yeah.
I love it when I get to erase it and I get to look at the board going, aha, that looks even better. And I know when I finished Nun Better, Elizabeth, and I don't know if I ever told you this, but when I finished Nun Better, I put the date that was the final proof that we did, the final proof, and I had that date up there and there was nothing else on the board. And I just drew these great big hearts and put a J in one and a C in one for Joanie and Carol. And then I put another heart, another J for Jesus. So we had a J, C, J, all these hearts on the board, and that was it. And that was it. And it was like, this is unbelievable.
Oh, that is so cool, Joanie. That's so cool. I love it. Love it. Love it. Did you
and you've taught me this. You've taught me to do this, and you've taught me to use more visuals, and that was so important. It's not just the words, but it's the pictures. It's whatever you can draw that represents that.
So amazingly, I love how you come up with your own techniques. So you, we're working on 2 books together. One is about LGBTQ plus joyous freedom, and the other one is about healing religious hurts. And Joanie, you have created these circular diagrams as your sort of chapter outlines. Do you have any handy?
Sure do. Sure do.
It's just so cool because it's like a mind map. When my son was in school, his teachers would say, let's make a mind map. And yours is like that. It's like got circles and, you know, things going out. Yeah, that is just so cool. And obviously we can't even read it. But it's your, you know, you understand what it says and it's your way of getting organized. So it's brilliant, brilliant. I love the color code so much. So can you talk about how people watching can emulate your process?
Well, I think that, and this sort of ties in with, because sometimes we don't have a name for the book yet. We don't have a title for the book. So in that circle, the very first big circle, it's just blank, or I might have initials, or I might just put wow, or I'm just like question mark. And so that middle circle is the title of the book. And then I have the spider webs that go out that are the themes or the chapters, because sometimes we don't have the chapters until I've even written the chapter. And then I come back and go, well, what was the main thing in there? And that could be the chapter title, or chapter title might come to me out of nowhere and going, oh my gosh, that would be a great chapter title. So anyways, that's how I do that. And so it just helps me to stay focused. Again, it's visual. It's visual. Oftentimes I would even draw parts of that on my visual whiteboard. So I would say, okay, this is what I really want to focus on right now. Because sometimes I get a little too, oh boy, what's the word? I don't want to say distracted. I just have a lot of things going through my heart and mind at the same time. Yeah. And so I need to just say, okay, you know what? Let's just concentrate on this. It's like playing volleyball. You know, you can look at the whole game, and then when it comes down to it, it's like, you know, just serve me the ball. Let me just pass the ball to the setter. Just one little basic thing. And so it's the same thing. You just have to, you just have to narrow it down sometimes. Did I answer that question, Elizabeth?
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. So this is another theme that you and I discuss often, is have fun with it. And so, you know, when you feel in control of what you're doing and you have a strategy and you feel organized, it's more fun. But when you use colored pencils and you have shapes and you have a circle with all the ideas spiraling out like a wheel, it's more fun. And you can post that up and look at it, a reminder. It's encouraging to stay focused and get the work done, because it's hard work. It requires intense hours of focus and solitude. So I
yes, it does.
I personally love color coding, and I know somebody who uses a lot of sticky notes. So they'll have a board and they'll coordinate their ink colors with their sticky note colors and their highlight colors, so that maybe editing is this color and writing time is this color and questions to ask the coach or the editor or the publisher is in this color. And so it's just exciting. And the cool thing for all of you watching, writing your book, is you have the power to decide what works for you. That's one of the main things about Joanie that's so amazing. And as soon as everyone says, I would say something and she'd put it in her own words and her own ideas. Like I'd say, your target audience. Well, I just say that all the time, target audience. Well, Joanie had to say, well, who am I talking to? And then that enabled her to write in a conversational manner that engages the reader instead of the word phrase target audience, which didn't necessarily resonate with her. So you have the freedom to take what we teach and personalize it, customize it for what works for you and your personality style.
Totally. And that is so important. And that is one of the gifts that you have, is that you put it out there, but you are so fluid, I guess would be the word, and open-minded enough that you can let the person you're working with, the author or the author to be, to run with it and to relate it to what you're talking about. And that's a real gift, because a lot of people, Elizabeth, that they get stuck in their own world, but you don't do that. And that's what I love about you as a teacher and a coach, is that you give that freedom, but yet you have the concept of where we're going and what we're doing to make it a great success.
Thanks, Joanie. Excellent.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So there's sort of an overlap topic here of chapters, because when you have a chapter, you need to also write notes for each chapter that help you make an outline and what to include, what photos to include, etc. So do you want to talk about how note-taking and having your board helps you organize your chapters?
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a great question. And I really like coming up with the chapter titles, because some of them are silly, some of them are serious. And I'm looking at my Nun Better book right here, and I have my chapter titles. And I'm just gonna read a few of them and
yes.
tell you a little story about it. Okay. So like chapter 1 is In Love and in the Convent. And so it's like, how do I describe Carol and I and our beautiful love? And here we are in the secrecy of the convent. And bottom line, we're in love and we're in the convent. That was a pretty simple chapter. And I love this chapter, chapter 2, Answering the Call, because a lot of people don't know what the call was or is. And to us, that was our communication, personal communication with our God, that's saying, hey, this is what I'd like for you to do, and this is what I'd like for you to be. So you're answering the call, literally like answering a text or answering a phone call. So that was a fun one. And then I love the chapter 6, Eyes of Love. Eyes of Love. And that came from, Elizabeth, you said, pull out some pictures and then that'll trigger you to write the stories. Well, I'm looking at Carol's gorgeous green eyes. And as I'm writing this chapter, I'm going, oh my gosh, that's the title. Eyes of Love. I would just melt in her eyes. I don't know if you've ever done that or other people have ever done that, but when you're in love, man, you look at those eyeballs and you can see through those eyes into the soul and the core of somebody. And it's just beautiful. So I love that chapter title, Eyes of Love.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
I love it. So you have so many other chapter titles, Joanie, that are just amazing. Gay marriage and the Catholic Church, in sickness and in health.
I even named a chapter after you.
Oh, which one was that?
I named a chapter after you.
This is Bliss.
This is bliss. That's one of your favorite words. And it was like, I learned what that word was to you. And I thought, got to put that word in a chapter. It's got to be, this is bliss.
That is really, so really special. So, yeah. Oh, Joanie, I love that. My nickname is Biss, Biss, and I love the word bliss. So, and some people actually call me that. So,
is Biss because you can't pronounce Elizabeth?
Well, Biss, yeah. In middle school, my friends made fun of my sister because she would call me Lizbath, just as what she learned as a toddler, saying my name and never changed it. And then she's like, well, if you're going to make fun of me, I'm just going to make up a whole new name for her. So she started calling me Biss. And then my friends and family started calling me Biss. I love it. Thank you. And my next book is called The Biss Tribe, Activating Your Goddess Power, because to me, Biss is about being individual and marching to the beat of my own drum and creating my own life my way. And that's what I teach women in the book, how to empower yourself to be, live, love as you are, who you are, with the courage.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thank
Awesome.
you. That's so
Awesome.
fun, Joanie.
Oh,
Here's another one. You use
that's cool. Well, if it's okay with you, I'll just call you Elizabeth.
oh, that's all good. All good. Thank you. So, Joanie,
Okay.
just as another tip for chapter titles, you used some phrases that people say, specifically Carol
Yeah.
used to say, smile big, wear bright colors. And
Yes.
that's chapter 23. And chapter 23 is after she died.
Right.
So you're keeping her phrase alive, smile big, wear bright colors, which symbolizes both of you together, the joy that you had for 40 years. Um, and then the one chapter, oh my gosh, please come and sit with me. That's like a directive to the reader. And that I was a mess when I was reading that chapter. It was so beautiful because chapter 22 is creating the rose garden. So when Carol died, in memory of her,
Yes.
you and your friends created a rose garden at your home. And your friends donated rose bushes and everybody chipped in to, oh my gosh, those are gorgeous.
Aren't those gorgeous?
Those
I just picked those
pink
this morning. We
flowers.
had a little stop in our rain.
Those are such beautiful pink roses of every shade. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So the tribute to Carol's life is the rose garden, and friends came over to build it, dig, plant, all that. People donated rose bushes, and now it lives on forever, bearing this beautiful fruit of these gorgeous flowers that Joanie just showed us. So that's chapter 22, but chapter 24, the last chapter in the book, is please come and sit with me. And you can't really tell, or when I read it, are you talking to Carol? Are you talking to me? Are you talking to Spirit? Saying, please, it was so beautifully done. And your life partner died and she had been ill for 8 years. And yet it's so celebratory and so beautiful and peaceful,
Mm-hmm,
Joanie.
mm-hmm,
So I love how
mm-hmm.
the last chapter is I'm welcoming you into our world. Please come here and sit with me and feel the love, peace, observe the beauty, smell the fragrance of the roses. It's just, I have chills right now. I have chills.
Oh,
Oh my
oh,
gosh. Okay.
oh. In that chapter, I remember sitting down and writing it, and it was like my fingers and my heart and my brain were just magically doing something. And I think this is I think this is a Jesus and Carol chapter that they wrote, and I just happened to be the messenger behind it. And then when Sally Roy, my wonderful editor through the entire book, she was like, Joanie, this has got to be the end of the book. This has to be the end of the book. This is really
Oh,
powerful. And
okay.
so I said, okay, Sally, okay. And I guess it didn't hit me as much as it did everybody else until it was in the book. Oh boy, now I get choked up. But what's like once it was in the book and I got to read it in the book, not on a document on my screen, then it hit me like, oh my gosh, this is the best. This is really, really holy and spiritual and loving and kind. And I think this happens to anybody who dies. And that they are living on in roses and in trees and in flowers and in each other. And life is not ended. It has changed, but it is not ended.
Beautiful. I love it, Joanie. That is so powerful. Any last words about chapter titles and note taking and how note taking and having a visual of your work actually helps you come up with chapter titles?
Oh, Elizabeth, I think we've talked about so much today, and I don't think I have anything more to add. Um,
Okay.
No, this is a beautiful topic. I thank you for the topic, and they go together, the chapter titles and the visual board. And out there at people as you're writing, and whether you're writing a book to be published or you're just writing in your journal, you're writing in a classroom or something today, just let your heart flow with it and believe in you.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Excellent, Joanie. Excellent. Well, all of you, I hope that you've taken away some really helpful information to help you on your book writing journey. I've done it 40 plus times. Joanie has done it once, and now we're doing it with 2 more books. So We love to share what we know with you to help you succeed as a best-selling author. So Joanie, thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you as well.
You're welcome. And all of you, please visit twosisterswriting.com. You can learn more about Joanie's book. You can also learn more about the services that we provide, such as book coaching, editing, and publishing. We would love to meet you. Please drop a comment here if you have any questions about topics that you'd like us to explore in future weeks. Please join us. And also, please check out the playlist of all the interviews that we've done here about how to write a book, in addition to 6 interviews about Joanie's book specifically. So they're all here on the channel for Two Sisters Writing and Publishing. So meanwhile, I wish you happy writing, and we will see you next week.
You bet. And big hug, air kisses. Have a beautiful day.